what's your understanding of the latest, or where do we stand now with this story on Monday morning as we record?
Yeah, look, obviously, I kind of understand how it works because I was on some of those boards and attended meetings, and we had this issue in 17-18 where they tried to restructure professional contracts in Wales through a thing called banding and Project Reset, etc. There's this real lack of trust across the three main stakeholders, I would say, which is the regions and their funders or their backers or their admin people, the WRU and the players. They're three different entities who have no trust in each other, which is obviously a bad starting point. And while I've been away from it, I've kept up to date with it. And obviously this weekend, I was lucky enough to chat to a lot of the Ospreys and a lot of the Dragons. So I kind of I've got a good feel for where it's at on the ground there. And it's in a very bad place. Will it get to a strike? I would say probably not. I think the players, and even the players who aren't in the international squad, understand that striking, while it's a valuable tool in terms of negotiation, and it's something they probably are willing to do, I think that they realize that the effect that would have on funding would actually be counterproductive and would make their jobs even riskier than they are at the moment. So I don't think that they're going to do that. I think that's a nuclear option. And listening to Malcolm Wall, who's the chair of the PRB, which is the Professional Rugby Board, he came on Scrum 5 last night, and I thought it was interesting in that he's in the job since April, so he has a little bit more, I suppose, of an excuse that he hasn't been able to push this through, and he said he's frustrated it hasn't been pushed through, etc. But the reality is, the longer this has gone on, the stronger the WRU are. To be honest, I know they're in conflict at the moment, but realistically, the players now need to take whatever they can get, and that's they feel that this has been allowed drag on. And the reality is, we saw during COVID how quickly things can be implemented when you really want to. You know what I mean? Like, why hasn't there been midnight oil meetings on this? It's just been pushed on. So the fact that the players felt they have to threaten to strike. The reality is, it seems as if the PRB are going to give on two of the three big areas of concern for the players. So the players understand that they're probably going to have to take a pay cut. Okay, they understand that financially in Wales the game isn't as healthy as everywhere else. So they understand that, and they're not happy about that, but they understand that. The problem is there's three different things that were causing them. Four different things. One was in the contracts that they were offered. There was a capability clause, which effectively meant that if the head coach or the CEO felt you weren't doing your job properly, you could be let go. And I know in day-to-day life, in the corporate world, there's effectively that you can be brought in and performance managed out. But in professional sport, unfortunately, there's times when your body gives up on you, you're not being selected because the coach might want a different style of player, etc. So, and also the contracts are so short term, you kind of need to have that certainty of 12 months, 24 months. So that was a big issue for them. And then the other thing was the WRU wanted a clause where you could be loaned out to another region without you having a say in it. So effectively, someone could make a decision that you have to move from Cardiff to the Scarlets, which is an hour and a half each way commute. Okay, and again, it's not the end of the world, but it's we all like to be having a control over where we work and who we work with, right? So it looks like they're going to not give on those totally, but they're going to compromise on those, and the wording of those clauses are going to change. That's a positive. That's something players have fought for and look like they're going to win. The second one is they wanted a representative, a players representative through the players union on the PRB board. What the PRB have said now is they can have someone who is present in the room to observe, right? So it's not a complete come down from the WRU. If they're meeting halfway, okay. But again, could I foresee that the union will eventually let the players have a representative on the board? I think they probably have to because of the way this is unfolded. And the other one was the 60 cap rule. So at the moment, unless you play 60 times for Wales, you can't leave Wales and still play for Wales, right? But what they've done is they've actually asked players to take significant pay cuts, implementing clauses which worsen their terms and conditions of employment and expect them to stay. And it looks like, again, there's going to be a compromise there. My understanding is, at the moment, it hasn't been announced yet, but they're willing to go to 30 caps. Okay, so if you've played for Wales 30 times, you can now leave Wales and still be available for Warren Gatland or the future Welsh coach, which at least give you a choice. So Ross Moriarty is a great case in point. 54 caps for Wales, is of interest to clubs in England and France, but doesn't want to give up his international career. But at the moment, he has no contract from Wales. So effectively, you know, he obviously he can leave, but at the moment he gives up international rugby, which for him, already having, you know, his dad played for Wales, his uncle played for Wales, he's played for Wales 54 times. He's proud of that and wants to play more, and he has to make a decision. So if they compromise, you know, and go to 30, you know, you would say any young player, you know, who stays in Wales can have that target of 30 caps. Obviously, if you get 30 caps, you're getting financed, you're getting extra money because you're playing for your national team, and then you have a choice. So there's a give there. The last piece of the jigsaw, even though all those haven't been sorted out perfectly, but there has been a compromise on those areas, is they want the contracts to be 80% fixed, 20% variable. All right. So say, for example, you were on 200,000 last year. Okay. There's probably a 20% pay cut, right? A pay reduction. So your new contract will be, you know, whatever, 160. But instead of being 160, it'll actually be 80% of 160 as your basic, right? So what you're guaranteed, and the other 20% will be based on your regional team's success rate, right? So, you know, people would say, "Oh, well, look, fair enough. You have the chance to make up the 100%." But the reality is, on the other side of the coin, the Welsh regions have been told by their employees, "Look at," and the WRU are saying this as well. This is a 6-year plan, which is revolved around cost cutting to help us reset, to try and create better commercial opportunities, which would then in 6 years' time, we may put back into the game, right? So look at this weekend, Cardiff won, Scarlets won, Dragons lost, Ospreys lost, right? So in the URC at the moment, the Welsh teams are finding it very difficult to be competitive against the South Africans, against the Irish, and against the Scots by and large. And then now the players are hearing there's going to be less players contracted, and they're going to pay less to those players, right? And also, let's be honest, if the 60 cap rule gets reduced, some of those better regional players will leave Wales, right? So the chance of you making up that 20% is lower. And like you're being told, look, this is about Welsh rugby resetting. 6 years. 6 years is a career for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So to be told by your employers, look, we'll give you a contract. 20% of that is based on performance, but we know there's not going to be any real good performances because we're not going to fund you to the level that you expect. Like, for me, it's must be very hard to take.